That was a little loud. The regular meeting of the Lawndale Elementary School Board meeting will come together at 5:01. Please note that all regular and virtual board meetings of the Lawndale Elementary School District are recorded. I would like to remind the board, the cabinet, it's on, presenters and speakers to slow down when speaking, to project your voice, to speak directly into the microphone, mute our microphones when we are not speaking, and we ask that we do not speak over one another. Are there any comments from the audience on agenda or non-agenda items? Thank you, Ms. Hattagi. Per board bylaw 9323, a person, well, I don't need to read that because we have no one speaking. Thank you. You get so used to doing something and then you just don't realize you don't have to do it. Okay, there is no need for closed session tonight, so we will move on to the regular board meeting. Flag salute. It's okay.
Good evening. We would like to welcome our fifth grade student from Billy Mitchell, Marcella Arvella, up to the podium along with Principal Carnell.
There we go.
Good evening, Cabinet and board members. My name is Dr. Dalia Coronel. I am the proud principal of Billy Mitchell Elementary. I am honored to be here with you tonight and also very honored to introduce one of our exceptional fifth grade aviators, Marcelo Arevalo. He will share a little bit about himself and also lead you in the flag salute. Please help me in giving Marcelo a warm welcome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marcelo Arevalo, and I'm a fifth grader at Billy Mitchell Elementary School. I'm very excited to be here with you to share a little bit about myself. One of my favorite things to do is to play sports. It helps me relax and have fun outside of school. This year, I had an amazing opportunity to be a part of the Superintendent Leadership Council. I learned about leadership, making good choices, and how to make a difference in my school and community. It made me feel special to have my voice heard and to learn with other student leaders. I'm also proud to be a scholar athlete, which means I work hard both in the classroom and on the field. My favorite sports are baseball and soccer. As I get ready to go to Jane Addams Middle School, I'm looking forward to learn in a new environment. I know middle school will be a big step, but I feel ready thanks to everything I learned at Billy Mitchell. Thank you for letting me speak tonight, and I will lead you into the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, no, 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 no. Would you please come into the well of the board dais, please? I know Superintendent Pastor was very, very, very sad. She is not here tonight. I know she was. The board would like you to have this book, the American flag, and we'd also like you to have. Becky is the office manager at Billy Mitchell as well. Roll call.
President Coronado,
Here.
Clerk Rudolph,
Here.
Trustee Burris,
Here.
Trustee Phillips,
Here.
and Trustee Morales. All are present on cabinet with this, Ms. Superintendent Castro is out today, but all others are present. And we have in person 13, YouTube 1, and Zoom 0.
Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion from the board to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll move.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Burris, seconded by trustee Morales to approve the agenda as presented. Any comments, questions, discussion from the board?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Hearing none, please vote on your devices. Motion carries 5-0. At this time, Ms. Howdy, would you please come to the center of the boardroom, please? You know that tomorrow is the last day as a
Executive.
administrative executive. Is it EA or AE? I always get mixed up. So on behalf of the board, we'd like to present you with these flowers. You've taken good care of us. We've not always been the easiest board to get along with, but you have come to know us. You find my Diet Pepsi.
You put 2 drinks at my table all the time.
Board, would you like to say anything?
Thank you, Sylvia, for always being there. You've always made sure we've had plenty of coffee or water or snacks or whatever we've needed, and I appreciate all your hard work. And like I said, I know your job was not easy. It's not an easy thing to take care of so many people, but I just want to thank you. You will be missed.
Don't walk away too soon. And on behalf of cabinet, we would like to thank you too, and thank you for all your support, taking care of us, staying on top of us with our Friday memos, making sure things were always on time, and just really thank you for being there for the cabinet.
Ms. Howdy, you may have the vase with the water, so you're. Okay, thank you. Communication, the first presentation.
Yes, we would like to call up Alberta Perez. And sorry, and Dr. Maria Morales.
Being board, cabinet, Lawndale community, thank you for having us tonight. It is with great pleasure and humility that I, come up here to recognize one of our longtime partners. We've been partnered with the South Bay Mission Church for what I understand is over 10 years. It was year 1 for me, and I saw a lot of the great things he did this year. Dr. Varela has been here for quite some time, and she knows a lot more about what they've done for us. So she's going to share highlight some of the things that they've done.
Thank you, Mr. Paredes.
Lawndale School District is very grateful for South Bay Mission Church for their unwavering generosity, compassion, and partnership in support of our students and families within our district. For over 10 years, South Bay Mission Church has been a steadfast friend to our community, providing school supplies, shoes, socks, Thanksgiving donations, winter holiday toys, emergency supplies, and countless hours of service. Their dedication has made a profound and lasting impact, ensuring that every child and family member feels seen, supported, and valued. On behalf of our Student Support Services Department, our district, we'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to South Bay Mission Church for embodying the true spirit of service. We are thankful for your continued support and commitment to our community. Thank you for walking alongside with us in this important work that we do, and we're grateful beyond words. Please come up.
We'd like to invite Pastor Tim Lee and members of his congregation up as we read what's on the plaque. Join us. You guys can stand right over here. Right, okay. I'd like to read it to you.
And we'll be taking photos in just a minute.
All right. In grateful recognition presented to South Bay Mission Church with heartfelt appreciation for your unwavering generosity, compassion, and partnership in support of the students and families of the Lawndale Elementary School District. Your contributions of school supplies, essential family and community resources, and countless hours of dedicated support have made a lasting impact on our community. Thank you for embodying the spirit of service and for helping us ensure that every child and every family feels seen, supported, and valued. Presented by Lawndale Elementary School District this June 5th, 2025.
Would the pastor like to say anything, Mr. Paredes?
Yeah, I'll say something quickly.
No, don't.
Okay. People ask me why our church works with Lawndale. We're like 25 minutes away. Like, why Lawndale? My wife works for a district nearby as well, and people ask. Well, you know, we got in touch with all the nearby districts from near our church, and the other districts, they responded, but at times it felt like it was a chore for them or almost a bother. And we worked with one district the first year of our church, and at the end of it, we said, "Man, it seems like we care about the kids more than them." So the following year, we expanded and we reached out to even more districts. And Lawndale, Maria especially, replied right back, and we knew that there was a need. And that was the first year of why we work with Lawndale. But the reason why we keep coming back, why the relationship has lasted 10 plus years, is because we see how much Lawndale cares for their students. We've heard stories of where faculty and staff have pulled money together and helped families. And Maria, when I first met her, she was just starting, this position, and she was a rookie, like I was a rookie. Our church is just 12 years old. And since then, all the social workers that she has, all the programs, how she's expanded, like, we know that Lawndale cares. So it makes us so easy to help out because we know that our resources and our funds and our manpower is going to a district where they truly love the kids. I'm a pastor, and pastors talk for a long time, so I don't want to ruin that stereotype. So I'm gonna say one more thing. And this is I just want to say thank you. I know we're being recognized, but I want to recognize Lawndale because this is a challenge that we kind of ask ourselves every year. Is from the very beginning, we always asked ourselves, what if our church just kind of disappeared? Would anyone miss us? Because as God's people, our job is to give away what we have received. We received from God love and forgiveness and grace, and a church is supposed to share that with the community. So the challenge is, if we disappeared, would anyone miss us? And just recently, we had this conversation, and someone said, I think Lawndale will miss us. And I'm not saying this to show off, like, oh, somebody will miss us, but I'm saying this as a Thanksgiving. Like, you've made it so easy to help you, and because of that, Lawndale has helped us justify our existence. We know that we'll be missed, meaning that's one of our goals, one of our dreams, one of our vision has come true. So it is our pleasure and our honor to be working and helping Lawndale, and I hope as long as our church exists, we want to work with Lawndale. Thank you so much.
We need to take some photos.
We also have some chocolates for everybody to enjoy when you guys get back. You guys, wanted. Yeah. Is there any more room? I'll eat the chocolate. So much. It's really not. It's been a long day, honey. No, I don't know. We have turned out free help.
Dr. Cooper, did you want to say?
Oh, my goodness.
Can I thank you? Thank all of you. Thank you, guys.
Huh? Well, the person sitting on that tree, they does. Oh, we've done it before. We've been good before. I think Dr. Cooper would like to give another word of appreciation.
Yes, just before everyone leaves, on behalf of the cabinet too, especially Superintendent Castro, thank you so much for all that you've done. I know even for the past just 3 years I've been here, it's been heartwarming to see every time that you guys are here and you're giving to our families just so gratefully. And also to Maria too, because she just goes above and beyond to just make sure our students are taken care of and forming the partnerships like she's formed with yours. So thank you. We greatly appreciate everything you do for our students and family.
Thank you. You're not obligated to stay for the rest of the board meeting. Yes, go outside and enjoy your chocolate. Thank you for being here. Does the board need a break? No, we're good? Okay, let's continue. Presentation 402.
Yes, I would like to welcome up Dr. Ho and Dr. Pamilia, and they can introduce the rest of their staff that are presenting the budget and LCAP.
President Coronado and members of the board and the community, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are ready to provide our presentation in preparation for the public hearing for the LCAP for 2025-26. As we see in the beginning of this, after I provide my presentation, then we'll go in with Dr. Ho and provide a overview of the budget for the 25-26 school year. So we are now moving into year one implementation. This slide may look a little familiar. We saw this last year because it's a 3-year plan, and we are now completing the year one of the 3-year plan. And so tonight we'll be talking about what we've done and then what we're moving into for year two. As a quick reminder for the local control and accountability plan, we are required to identify and meet the needs of our low-income, foster youth, and English learners. Each one of those students is counted once, even if they hold more than one of those titles, and that is how we come up with the term in education as an unduplicated pupil. The numbers you see here are the numbers of our students that are considered in low-income English learner, long-term English learners, foster youth, our students who are experiencing homelessness. And then off to the side, we always like to keep an eye on our students who have reclassified from formerly being English learners to now being fluent in English. As we continue on, we have a little bit of local data to show that in December, when we implemented our first diagnostic for our iReady reading and math, you can see that in red, this is the level, the percentage of proficiency of all of our students. And then in March, the progress that they made in terms of their progress. Now, continuing on, we have a subset of the scores for each one of our unduplicated students. And you can see here, the data here is what goes into our LCAP so that we are able to monitor and ensure that we are meeting the needs of our students and that our actions are meant to support our student needs. And this is the particular group of students that we have to ensure that we are meeting the needs of within the LCAP. Last year at this time, we provided the information on our dashboard and what were the needs improvement at each one of the schools. And so now here at the end of year one, we are now very pleased to show that we have crossed out all of these areas of need because we have made progress in every single one of these markers. So I do want to shout out the hard work of our teams at the school sites for their incredible dedication to working and in improving or reducing our chronic absenteeism, as well as looking at some of our academic performance indicators. Of course, there's still a lot of work to do. And we will show that continuing on for our district, we still have to put a dedicated attention on the chronic absenteeism and our suspensions for our foster youth. And in particular, within the English learner subcategory, our long-term English learners have a measure of progress that we have to, an improvement that we have to make as well. So when we take a look at our long-term English learners, also known as LTELs, when we look at the next stage of our LCAP, we look at that data, and so we're making data-informed decisions. So our next slide here indicates some of the sample support that we are incorporating into the LCAP to ensure that we are creating opportunities and providing dedicated support to our long-term English learners. And this is identified by looking at working with our teacher leaders at the school sites who also work with our teachers and also provide information when we're looking at ELD support classes and looking at some of the assessments that our English learners are making. Also last year, I wanted to call out, these were the actions that we had called out to support each one of the goals in our LCAP. And so these are all of the things that we have from last year, right? So I'm going to continue on with this to show that every year we're revising and improving. So we are also using some funds from Learning Recovery Student Block Grant. Let's see. And we have to continuously improve these actions. That's what we do for these 3 years. Now we have various supports that we can use. So when we're looking at one-time learning recovery funds, and these learning recovery funds are meant to accelerate learning loss caused by the effects of the COVID pandemic. So you can see in blue some of the added supports that learning recovery funds are using to support the goals in our LCAP. So you can see that we are continuously providing training to our school sites to ensure that professional learning communities and the PLC process is being implemented. And as the board knows, we had site teams from every site teams attending a series of trainings to ensure that every teacher guiding coalition group from each school site understood how to improve their collaboration and what were some of the things that we could do at the school site to improve instruction. We also are including AVID in our learning recovery to ensure that we have college and career readiness for our middle school students. And we are continuing to look at attendance monitoring tools to support our absenteeism and ensure that we are improving our attendance. And then also the board knows over the year how much support we've been providing for our English learners, especially through SMOA and through our TREC program. So as we continue on with year 2, I'd like to highlight several areas in each one of the goals. In red, these are some of the actions that we are targeting in order to improve and continuously improve our actions from year 1 into year 2. So as an example, in year 1, I would like to call out how we're going to look at teacher leaders and how we're using teacher leaders to work alongside their teachers to plan and implement instruction within the classroom. As the school board knows and supported the adoption of a new math curriculum last year, if we take a look at that, we want to make sure that we're providing a good understanding of how to implement that math curriculum. So if we take a look at our May math data, which is different, this is new data for the board to see. This is using our local assessment that is different from March, which we've provided before. You can see that from TK on through 5th grade, we've got some green areas, and then it starts to go down with our May local assessment. But I do want to give the board an example of what this assessment looks like in 5th grade to get a good understanding of what we're asking our 5th graders to do, which is based on the 5th grade standards. 4 people want to share 1/3 of an extra large pepperoni pizza so that each person gets the same amount. How much pepperoni pizza will one person get? If I haven't stopped you there, if I haven't confused you there, there is a second part to this question. So first of all, we're asking them to show their thinking with that first part of the question. The second part of the question then asks the student to say, then each person also got 1/4 of a mushroom pizza. How much pizza does each person have? So this is the kind of complexity that we have in the types of student performance tasks that we're asking our students to be able to do, but that is what they need to be able to do.
What grade is this?
This is 5th.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So then with that, if you can see what our teacher leaders can do for grades 3 through 5, we're able to understand that fractions is something that starts in 3rd grade and continues on into 4th grade, into 5th grade. And so in order for us, for our 5th graders to be able to complete a task as complex as that, we have to make sure that they are ready to handle a task as complex as that. So with that in mind, our plans for next year include having our math teacher leaders, our math TOSAs, work with each one of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to come inside the classroom and teach alongside their partner teachers to look at fractions and really look and support the students directly by providing additional teaching during that time for fractions. And our goal is to look at the fractions units within the curriculum and go through 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade so that by 5th grade, our students are going to have a good understanding of the fraction standard, which is very complex, as we all know. As we all know, right? So this is an idea of where they would work with 4th grade and trimester in the first trimester, because that's really where it's really the bulk of it is. It's introduced in 3rd grade, so we go into there in trimester 3, but we also continue on with a little bit of a review in trimester 2 for 5th grade. So that's just an example for math. In language arts, we do the same thing, and we're going to be doing some partner teaching for our students with, I'm sorry, I don't know, did I skip a slide? Let me see. No, okay, thank you. Thanks, Letty. So we have our May reading data here, and this is also another local assessment that our students take, grades K through 5. And if you can see, our students can do quite well with fluency. They know how to read the words. That is not our issue. You can see that we have a lot, that green bar is a good thing. That's what we want to be able to see. So in phonological awareness, phonics, and high frequency words, we're good. We're good with that as far as creating a focus for our grade levels as a whole. What ends up happening, however, though, in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we do notice a dip in comprehension. And if we look at that a little bit further, we can see that in vocabulary, that green bar is not as strong. That's where we're seeing more red. You can see that the comprehension and vocabulary is where it really starts to fall off, which means our students can read what they can decode it, but are they making sense of it? So with that in mind, what our early grades, our language arts specialists and our teacher leaders in language arts will work with grades K through 2 in literacy, in vocabulary, and comprehension by really focusing on the complex vocabulary it takes in order to be able to do the work, right? So it's not words like cat and dog, it's more like words like metamorphosis, right? These are strong academic, we call them tier 2 and tier 3 vocabulary. That's the academic vocabulary that a student needs to know to be able to be successful in a subject. So you can see here in 2nd grade, they'd be working with, during trimester 1, our language arts specialists with each one of our 2nd grade teachers, moving on to 1st grade in trimester 2, and then in kindergarten in trimester 3. So that will be our plan in order to improve tier 1 teaching and in order to ensure that we are really directly supporting our students. Now, if we go into another goal for reducing chronic absenteeism, we're very pleased to report that from 30% the board knows we've gone down to 20% chronically absent, but of course, we want to continuously reduce that number. We're very pleased to have increased the numbers of our Saturday schools from this year from 4 Saturdays. Next year, we're planning on expanding it to 10 with the goal of reducing this need for Saturday school because we will have less student absent. So this is, again, another additional plan for the LCAP for next year. And then in increasing, and this is in goal 4 for our improving 21st century learning environments, but also intersecting that with the needs of our long-term English learners. You can see that we are really coordinating our instruction to support the language development for our students. So you can see that we've got classes here. We have opportunities not just during the elective class, but during lunchtime, as well as library. They're able to go in on different times in order to get their language development. And we have a high level of student satisfaction and ability and feedback from students saying that they enjoyed the Trek ELD activities and that they've helped them in other classes. This slide here is another section of our dashboard. Local indicators, we have several priorities that we have to take data on at the local level. So you can see that when we're looking at our instructional material and clean schools, we have a number of markers from looking at students who have access to their own materials, to the facilities, and working with our maintenance and operations department to ensure that our students are in facilities that are in good repair. So we report these numbers on our dashboard, and we have surveys for some of the other areas of the priorities. For example, our implementation of state standards. You can see that we're in full implementation for English language arts, English language development, and mathematics because we have new adoptions for them. With our science and our social studies, we're in initial implementation because we are still in the beginning stages of either piloting or choosing textbooks for them. So that's why those are listed as initial. School climate, we have a survey of our students every year, and so we're able to report on that, as well as looking at our implementation plans for parental involvement, as well as access to a broad course of study. So when we report on how we're doing, that's how we meet the progress. Even if it's something in an initial implementation, that's our report. And so that shows that we are meeting our local indicators. So with the next steps then, just as a quick review, this draft that will come up to the public in the public hearing in an upcoming agenda item. If there are any questions, we provide written responses to those written questions, and then we'll post that along with the draft on the website. And then in 2 weeks, with any sort of after the feedback, we provide the final draft for approval during the June 26th board meeting. And so that concludes, and thank you for your attention for the LCAP annual report and presentation. If there are any questions, I can take them now, or I can pass it to Dr. Howard Ho for the budget.
Are there questions from the board members? I have some.
Yes.
Are we providing support for English language learners during summer school as we did last year?
Thank you for that question, President Coronado. Yes, we
I'll
are.
give you the $10.
I appreciate it. And I'm so glad because I have a slide in our superintendent's report for
Oh.
us to provide a little bit of information on their summer programming.
And when you talk about learning loss, when will we be able to say that learning loss is over because of the pandemic? I mean, what class is going to be able to say that? Because pandemic was in 2020. We're in 2025. When will those students be at 12th grade or graduation from high school? Dr. Ho, you're good with numbers.
Yes.
When will we be able to say that we are out of the learning loss cycle?
I would say that in my response, I would say that there are students who will go through that cycle in different stages, much like learning a language. Some will take a little bit longer to recoup that learning loss, and others will do it relatively quickly and will have caught up. At the same time, there are those that had a much larger effect depending on how the pandemic impacted their particular personal situation. So I think my response would be as long as it takes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. When you talk about local assessments, are what I'm assuming, and I want to make sure I'm correct, they're assessments created by Letty Varela and her team, correct?
I will bring up Director Letty Varela to be able to answer that directly on the microphone.
So the local assessments are created by our teacher leaders. I do participate in the conversations, but I do take the direction of teacher leaders for those assessments. They are the experts, so I do rely on them and their expertise to develop those assessments. And as you saw, the assessments are problem task types. So our
Performance task,
I-Ready,
right,
yeah,
uh-huh.
our I-Ready assesses skills.
Mhm.
Our open response is more a comprehensive assessment that takes in multiple standards and has students apply their learning of those multiple standards. So that they're much harder and more comprehensive.
No, I know performance tasks
Yeah.
are
mhm.
very difficult.
These are mini performance tasks, yes, if you will.
Right, thank you. So I know some students struggle with vocabulary. For example, I once said, so I was looking at the wind chime hanging outside of my window. And my kid said, I don't know what a wind chime is. And I said, oh, come on. You know, it's a thing that hangs and it has little tubes and they hit each other and they make music. They had no clue. So I Googled an image of wind chimes. So how are we providing photos or context for vocabulary?
So once upon a time, before COVID, we were doing an excellent job of vocabulary development. And we had reality, as you mentioned. We had active word walls. We had students receiving prizes for using words like ostracized in the classroom. And COVID really took us 10 steps back because teachers were afraid of students opening their mouths right at that point. And so there was a lot of going back to rows and students just writing and listening, but not talking. And so we're bringing back a lot of strategies that we used before COVID. Like what you mentioned, photos, videos, a wide variety of texts, a lot of opportunities to use language. And so we're bringing back a lot of the learning we had prior to COVID. And so that's an excellent example of something that we're going to bring back because there was a lot of fear about students talking after COVID, and we had to wear masks. And so we couldn't use our language. So all of that is coming back, and that's why we're spending K2 a strong focus on developing a strong foundation in vocabulary, specifically Tier 2 and Tier 3 vocabulary.
And I know this is important to Trustee Burris. We're using the same kind of vocabulary strategies at every single school.
Yeah, and to even augment that, we're meeting with our teachers. Let's say you're all kindergarten teachers across the 6 schools. What 6 words do we all commit we're going to have students own by the end of the year? First grade, what 4 do we commit students will own and use at the end of the last year? So we're going to make commitments around language.
And I saw that on the dashboard, we met. Is there anything that exceeds meeting, like
Met
mastery?
is the highest.
Met is the highest.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
got it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
No, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Then I will pass the microphone to Dr. Ho.
Thank you, Dr. Familia. Along the lines of learning loss and COVID, I do want to share with the board and everyone that, and we'll talk more about this in a couple of minutes, but in terms of our funded ADA, during the COVID years, we had a couple of years when we were hold harmless. And so during that time when our ADA was down and enrollment was down, we were held harmless, so we were still given the higher enrollment number to help with our funded ADA. Those years have fallen off. And so our funded ADA now is closely aligned to our current enrollment. And we don't have that hold harmless year anymore to help protect our funded ADA numbers. But we'll talk more about that in a couple of minutes. That being said, good evening, everyone. My name is Howard Ho. I'm the Assistant Soup of Business. I stand before you this evening with our new Director of Budgeting and Accounting, Luis Diaz. And together we will present to you our proposed budget for the 25-26 year. So before I dive deep into the budget details, I do want to acknowledge our accounting department. One person who's not mentioned on this slide is our outgoing Director of Budgeting and Accounting, Monique Benjamin. I think she's probably listening to this presentation on YouTube right now. I think we have one listener.
Yes.
That might be Monique. So anyways, Monique, I want to say thank you for your assistance with this budget development. But I do want to acknowledge every single person from our accounting department to help put this budget together. There was a lot that went on with our budget development process, and here we are today presenting our budget proposal for the 25-26 year. So tonight's presentation will cover four main areas. First, we're going to give an overview of our budget cycle. This is something that we talk about during every budget presentation. I'll go more into details about that in a couple of minutes. But I do want to share some information about our governor's May revise on May 14th. The governor released some information, some updated information in regards to his revised budget. So we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Also, we'll share about some existing challenges with the road ahead, and Luis will go into the details of our 25-26 proposed budget. So in regards to our budget cycle, this is a slide that we like to revisit during just about every budget presentation. It provides everyone with an update in regards to our budget cycle. The school district budget cycle is it's continuous. We began building assessments and assumptions early in the year, and we update them as new data becomes available, and we revise it accordingly after the governor's budget and the May revise. This provides a lot of input with regards to our LCFF, our local control funding formula. And as you can see, the arrow is pointing at June. Right now, we are at budget proposal. Our next stage is to present the budget for approval on June 26th. And then come July 1st, the entire budget cycle starts all over again. So the governor's May revision reflects continued uncertainty with the state's budget. Prop 98 was actually lowered by $4.4 billion throughout the 3-year window. And Prop 98 is the guaranteed minimum funding for K-14 education. And most recently, during the May revise, the governor shared that there will be some reduction to Prop 98. While there are no immediate local cuts, funding is being supported through temporary tools such as deferrals, and the governor having to tap into the rainy day funds to make sure that the Prop 98 budget is made whole. And so there's a lot of uncertainty with the budget at the state level, but he is doing whatever he can to ensure that schools get all the money that they were promised. In terms of the state's economy, the broader economic context matters because it drives states' revenues and ultimately school funding. So the word that was being thrown around during the May revision was a growth recession, because growth is happening really, really slowly. Inflation is higher than projected. The CPI is projected to increase to 3%, but fall to 2.6 in the out years. Overall, state revenues remain strong in the current year, but it is projected to slow down in the 25-26 year and the subsequent out years as well. So as a district, there's been some mitigation efforts to lower our district's expenditure. Our enrollment is projected to decline to 4,169 this upcoming year for 25-26, which is a 2.5% drop from 24-25. And fewer students translates into less funding for the district. And so what we need to do is we need to continue to monitor our staffing to ensure that it commensurates with our enrollment. This year, we also offered a early retirement incentive. We had about maybe 8 certificated employees that took advantage of it. We had a few management level employees that took advantage of it as well, and some classified employees. And so the one positive from this early retirement incentive was that it helped soften reductions in force. In addition to that, we had some teachers that were pretty high on the salary scale that took the early retirement incentive, and they're going to be replaced by incoming newer teachers that are on the first step of the salary scale. So overall, it was definitely a win-win for the district and for the employees in the district. In addition to staffing to ensure that it aligns with student enrollment and our early retirement incentive, we're also going to continue to monitor our SPED expenditures. Over the last couple of years, and I want to note that it's not unique to Lawndale, but our expenditures for the special ed department has increased. And so, Sharon and I, we are working closely to monitor our SPED expenditures and just get a good handle of our overall SPED expenses. So the COLA for this upcoming year, first, if you look at the blue bar on the left, for 24-25, for this year, the COLA was at 1.07%. In December, it was projected that the COLA was going to be 2.36%. When the governor first released his budget back in January, he was anticipating it to be 2.43%. And as of May 14th, during the governor's May revise, it was shared that the COLA for this upcoming year will be 2.3%. And so usually the May revised COLA is pretty, if not exact, pretty close to what's going to get approved by July 1st at the state level. And so the anticipated COLA for this upcoming year will be 2.3%. And again, our enrollment currently at the for this current year, as you can see in red, our enrollment sits at 4324. We're averaging a enrollment decline of 2.5% year over year. And so for 25-26 enrollment, we were projecting it to be around 4216. And for 26-27, enrollment is projected to land at 4,111 students. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Budgeting and Accounting, Luis Diaz, and he will go over the financials with everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Ho. Good evening, President Coronado. Good evening, honorable members of the board. Good evening, Cabinet, and also the, members of the community. And so as Dr. Ho mentioned that we have declining enrollment, that's the expected trend. And how this affects funding is if we can look at the third row, estimated funded ADA, this is how the district is funded. As we see in 2024-25, the current fiscal year, it's at 4,271. And in the coming year, 25-26 is expected to be at 4,145. And as the next 2 out years, it trends to go down. And the next slide. So as we can see is in regards to CalPERS, that's at the bottom. In 2024, the current year, it's at 27.05%. But in 2025, it is expected to go, well, it is going to go down to 26.81%. And then it'll slightly increase in 2026, 27, but still below the current years. But thereafter, the next 2 years, it'll be expected to increase. And in regards to CalSTRS, the trend is to not change. So it's going to stay at 19.1%. So here we have the unrestricted general funds revenues. And as we see at the top, the total LCFF, it's at $62.7 million. And how this is broken down is by state aid at $44.9 million. Property taxes at $9.5 million. Education Protection Act at $8.1 million. Then we have state, and that includes lottery and also transportation at 1.2 million. Local and other funds, and that includes Measure CL, interest, and rental and leases. And then the total expected revenue at $67.8 million. However, from that, contributions to the restricted funds are $17.9 million. And this helps support special education and routine restricted maintenance. So now we have the unrestricted expenditures. And as we can see here, we also have the 24-25 estimated actuals for the current year compared to the 25-26 coming year. And as we can see, certificated salaries are expected at $30.5 million. This includes teachers, certificated administrators, counselors, and nurses. And then below we have the classified salaries at $9 million. And so this will include support instructional aides, community liaisons, office managers, and other support staff, and custodians. Right below that, we have employee benefits at $14.2 million. And this will include CalSTRS, CalPERS, health and welfare contributions, and also retiree paid benefits. Below that, we have books and supplies at $1.8 million. And this will include textbooks, software, and also instructional materials. And below that, we have services and other operations. And this will include utilities, transportation, and other legal fees. For capital outlay, we don't have any expected expenditures. Other outgo sources are at $3.6 million. So these are contributions from restricted funds for indirect costs. And then below that, we have contributions going out of $17.9 million. And that's to support special education and routine restricted maintenance. So the total expected expenditures is at $76.1 million. So the next slide provides allocations for the restricted funds. So we have federal funds at $14.4 million, state funds at $27 million, local revenues at $4 million. And so the total restricted revenues are at $35.5 million. However, this does not include a contribution from the unrestricted funds of $17.9 million. So next is the expenditure breakdown for the restricted budget. So first we have certificated salaries at $13.9 million, and this includes special education teachers and certificated staff, and also certificated admin staff and SELPA. Next we have classified salaries at $13 million. This includes special education IAs, TK aides, program leaders. And below that, we have employee benefits at $10.1 million, books and supplies at $2.7 million, service and other operations at $10.3 million, capital outlay at $111,000, other outgoing sources at $5.2 million, contributions in at $17.9 million. So the total expected expenditures are at $37.7 million. Right, so these last few slides, we just focus on the general fund. But this slide includes the other funds that we have. So we have SELPA pass-through fund, it's Fund 10. As the SELPA AU, the funds pass through us and gets distributed to our other SELPA partners. Next, we have the Child Development, Fund 12. Food Services Funds, Fund 13. The next fund is Fund 14, Deferred Maintenance, that's inactive fund. our Special Reserve Retiree Benefit, Fund 17, and this is for future planning of paid retiree benefits. Our building fund is at Fund 21, and the plan is to spend this down for modifications and upgrades. We have Special Reserve Fund at Capital Outlay, Special Reserve Capital Outlay, Fund 40. And then for other enterprises is Fund 13, our inactive fund. So I'll pass it back to Dr. Ho.
Okay, so thank you, Luis. So this slide provides us with a snapshot of what's coming down the pipeline. As you can see, the proposal at the federal level is to reduce $163 billion from expenditure, from non-defense expenditures, which includes education. And so earlier I mentioned that there was a lot of uncertainty, this being one of the main reasons why. We have not heard about anything in the media recently, but the U.S. Department of Education, they're still working on dismantling that as well. As soon as we get any information on that, we'll definitely provide the board with updates. That being said, though, there appears that there's a commitment to maintain Title I funds and special ed education funding. So in regards to next steps, so the California Constitution requires that the legislature pass a approved balanced budget by June 15th each year. That way it gives the governor enough time to review it one more time and approve it by July 1st. So those are the next upcoming steps at the state level. And then once the governor approves the state's budget, they will issue trailer bills to clean up any uncertainty or any or provide clarity on how some of the money needs to be spent at the K-12 level. So that's going to wrap up our budget proposal presentation for this year. At this time, I'd like to open it up for questions.
Trustee Morales, any questions at this time? Trustee Phillips?
Actuals versus the budget, I noticed that the certificated salaries went down, right? But classified went up. Is that because classified employees didn't take the incentive for retirement or something? Or is it because we're hiring more classified?
Well, we are definitely filling more classified positions and not using contracts to fill those positions. And correct, it does have to do with more certificated employees taking advantage of the early retirement incentive.
And they were probably at a higher wage than the classified employees were.
Correct.
Thank you.
Trustee Burris? Clerk Rudolph?
No question.
I have one, Dr. Ho.
Yes, ma'am.
Eliminating Title III in migrant education, if that comes to fruition, how will that impact our budget?
So we actually do get some Title III funding from the federal level. And so we will have to find ways to continue to provide these programs and resources for our students without the additional the Title III resources. And so, yes, the answer is it will impact our students and our budget.
Do you happen to know right now, not that I need an answer immediately, about how much?
I believe we get under $2 million a year in Title III funding.
Okay, and adult education, would that impact our,
That doesn't impact us.
not even with our parents going to communal
That
learning?
that won't impact us.
Okay, that's more for higher education and the high schools.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Last call? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ho.
Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to call a 10-minute recess at 6:05. Joel? Lawndale Elementary School Board meeting will reconvene from recess at 6:15. We have no correspondence tonight, and we are at 4.04. Dr. Cooper?
Yes, good evening. Tonight's superintendent report starts with pictures just from our Makerspace Family Nights at Smith and Twain. And then we go on to our next one, which I know Virginia is missing not being here tonight to talk about how much fun she had being in Miss Gelman's third grade class with William Green. So every year at the beginning of the year, she has all the employees' names basically in the hat. She pulls the name and she commits to doing their job for the day. And this was Miss Gelman's third grade class for this year. And then I think we have a quick video. We're just going to pretend. So you're just gonna try the magnet in your hand and pretend you're magicians. Abracadabra. The inside of her desk is magnetic. She's gonna try it out. Did it work? All right. Called magnetism that helps power all these devices. Smartest kid too, because this kid chose this book even though it has no picture. Because kids know that this is art that makes grown-ups have to say silly things. Right, so I know she had a great time. She shared it with us, and thank you to Miss Martinez for taking that video to share. And then next from the Human Resource Office is just some highlights from the Afternoon of Excellence this year. So thank you. I know everyone enjoyed the Afternoon of Excellence. Thank you to Rogers for hosting, and big shout out to my HR team for the great job that they did. And then lastly, this our current job employments. We have a lot of classified postings right now. So just saying, anyone out there listening or see this, please go onto our webpage, go to the careers tab, and it will take you straight to EdJoin to apply for the positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper.
Okay, so on behalf of the business department, I wanted to share with the board that earlier this week, Trustee Phillips and I attended the Measure CL meeting. This is in relation to the parcel tax and the parcel tax that we get as a district every year. This was on Tuesday, June 2nd, from 6 to 7 o'clock at Sentinel Valley. And at this meeting, Trustee Phillips had a chance to share about all the amazing things that we're doing as a district with our CL money. Wanted to let the board know that the construction project for the Mitchell Playground will be starting next week. So as soon as the kids are out, the contractors will begin to mobilize and start tearing apart the play structure that's closer to Condon Avenue. This project should be done sometime in mid-August. The goal is to finish this project before the students return. And some of the new features would include a brand new playground, a shaded structure that's going to be installed over the playground, and new rubberized tile surface. And the Rogers two-story construction project will be starting in a couple of weeks as well. That's happening June 30th. We just had our pre-construction meeting earlier this week. At the meeting, we had the architects there, we had the district's construction team, we had the contractors there, the DSA inspector of record. It was a full house, and so this is a big project that we are taking on, and that is scheduled to start July 1st. Duration for this project, it should take about 18 months to complete, and the tentative completion date is December of 2026.
From the Educational Services Department, from coming up for approval at section, in Superintendent's Action Items 9.08, we are bringing forward the single plans for student achievement from each one of the school sites. In the past years, we would have each site present their own plan separately, and they would come together. This year, we tried something different with the school sites bringing up their spotlights and providing information about each one of their 4 goals and the work that they were doing. We were hoping that the Board of Trustees found that to be a little bit more compelling with the students to see the single plans in action. This in front of you today then are the actual plans themselves. They are all similarly formatted to outline progress and goals on our 4 goals outlined in the LCAP, and with a focus on our 3 drivers of data-informed instructional practices, PLCs, and MTSS. Another highlight for our Student Support Services Department, this time with our health services, our school nurses did such a wonderful job with the Vision to Learn program this year. We had almost 4,000 vision screenings with over 1,200 vision exams conducted by our Vision to Learn van. And we gave out over 1,000 free glasses to our students. So a big thank you to our school nurse team. And here you can see some photos of the program over the year. So a really wonderful service, again, that is put together and coordinated by our Health Services Department. And finally, looking forward as we wrap up our year, of course, we do not wrap things up in the summer. We've got some summer programming for academics and language enrichment. 2 programs I'm going to be highlighting here are our Summer Forward program. We have over 200 students, grades K through 5, that are recommended based on needs in either language arts or in mathematics. And so you can see that in K1, we are working on phonics and reading intervention. And then we move into math intervention for grades 2 through 5. For our language development, we have 3 programs going on. One for our dual language program, and that would be with Spanish language development. Then we also are bringing in our students who are new to the country and are very early on in their language development. And then finally, our long-term English learners, those who have been with us for 6 years or longer, also coming in for some language development. We have about 150 students serving there, and they will be at Twain. And within that program, we have school social workers working with the program so that they can provide office hours. And our new program that we'll be piloting this year is in conjunction with our community liaisons. The social workers will be providing some active parenting classes and sessions for our Language Academy participants. And so with that, we're looking forward to providing a report at the end of the summer on the progress that we made with that. Thank you. Dr. Ho, will there be a formal groundbreaking for the two-story building at Rogers?
I
That
can
catch you off
check,
guard?
yeah, I can check with Dr. Cashel to see how she wants to proceed with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think the board would be interested in going to that. That's a pretty big project.
Okay, all right, I'll make note of that.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, minutes. 4.05, Dr. Cooper.
Sorry, wasn't aware that was. Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of May 15th, 2025.
I'll move.
On a motion by trustee Burr, seconded by trustee Morales to approve the minutes from the May 15th, 2025 regular meeting. Any comments, questions, changes from the board? Hearing none? I'm sorry. I said no, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Hearing none, please vote on your devices. Mr. Lopez? I don't know what I did. I took something I wasn't supposed to. Can we just take a hand vote, please? All in favor, please vote aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. At this time, we will have a public hearing on the 2025-2026 LCAP.
Oh, truth.
I'm sorry. What
We
did I
need to
do wrong?
The special board meeting? Do you want me to read out?
Oh, thank you. Oh, 4.06. Thank you, thank you. All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special board meeting of May 19th, 2026, the workshop.
I'll second.
On a motion by Clerk Rudolph, seconded by trustee Burris to approve the minutes of the special meeting of May 19th, 2025. Any comments, questions, discussion from the board, changes from the board?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Can we take a hand count for that as well, please? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. At this time, at 4.07, we will conduct a public hearing on the 2025-2026 LCAP in accordance with Education Code 52062. We will begin the hearing at 6:28. And we will close the hearing at 6:29. At this time, we will, item 4.08, public hearing of 2025-2026 proposed budget, including the district's reserve for economic uncertainties in accordance with Education Code 42103. We will begin the meeting at 6:29. Is there anything wrong with me closing the meeting at 6:29 since no one's speaking? I have to wait 1 minute? Well, I'm gonna close it at 6:29. 6:29. Thank you. We have no expulsions. Information items guidelines. Information items are generally included on the board meeting agenda for two primary reasons: to gather input from the board and the public on issues that may require future board action, and to share updates on a variety of topics of interest to both the board and the public. Are there any comments, questions, discussion about any of these board policies or administrative regulations or bylaws from the board? Okay,
Nothing that I could see.
we are on item 7. All items appearing under the consent items, SELPA consent items, superintendent action items, and SELPA superintendent action items are adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the agenda and voted on separately. Dr. Castro?
Acting.
Dr. Cooper? I'm so sorry.
Acting,
so
Dr.
sorry.
Castro. It's okay. I'm bringing forth consent item 7.03 through and including 7.27 for approval.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Phillips, seconded by trustee Morales to approve and to ratify consent item 7.03 through and including 7.27 for approval. At this time, please vote on your devices. Well, any questions? I'm sorry. Any questions, comments, discussion from the board?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Cooper.
Yes, I am bringing forward SELPA consent item 8.03 through and including 8.10 for approval.
I'll move.
A second.
On a motion by trustee Burris, seconded by trustee Morales to approve SELPA consent items 8.03 through and including 8.10 for approval. Comments, questions, discussion from the board?
Ma'am.
Thank you. Please vote on your devices. Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Cooper.
I am bringing forward superintendent's action items 9.03 through and including 9.16 for approval.
I'll move. Go ahead. Trustee
On a
Morales.
motion by trustee Morales, seconded by trustee Burris,
Mhm.
to approve and or ratify superintendent action items 9.03 through and including 9.16 for approval. Comments, questions, discussion from the board? We have a light on from trustee Phillips.
Thank you. Item number 9.08, which includes the school plans for each site. Is it possible that for those of us who don't have a printer, and I notice these are many, many pages,
Mhm.
that we could have a print, for those of us who want it, can have a printed copy and put into a binder? I kind of keep track of things. I check off things during the year as I see them being accomplished. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none, please vote on your devices. Motion carries 5-0. There are no superintendent action items for SELPA. We have no items removed for a separate vote. We have no items from board members. We are now at board member comments. And I don't have my book.
Trustee Rudolph is first.
Thank you, trustee Rudolph.
Only have a couple things. One was the May 19th meeting at Lusinger. I don't know a lot about, what is it, AI?
Artificial intelligence.
Yes, but I learned a lot at that meeting, and Dr. Chain did a fantastic job of hosting it and facilitating it. And I also want to do some kudos to Lusinger High School. Dr. Alex and his fantastic students did a great job. We had tacos and we had snickerdoodle cookies, which one of the girls did make, and those were fantastic. They could, if they want to do a fundraiser, they can have a snickerdoodle fundraiser and I think everybody would buy those cookies, because they were really great. So I really appreciate all the work that they did. And on the Afternoon of Excellence, we had a room full of dedicated Lawndale people, Lawndale Elementary School District people. I know we'll miss the retirees. I want to thank them for all their years of service. And I want to thank the 5+ years of the current employees. They're what makes me great. Lawndale Elementary is the, what did Virginia call it? The hidden gem of the South Bay. If they keep doing so well, we're not going to be hidden very long. We're going to be out in the open, but I'm just really proud of the whole district and all of our employees and staff and our board members, everybody involved. So thank you all. That's it.
I'm next, and then it goes her, and then it just
This goes down.
around
Thank you
things
so much,
this
trustee
time.
Burris.
Yes, I attended a few things. One of them was the Take Part Festival at Lusinger. It was freezing that day, which is why trustee Coronado got sick. And Clerk Rudolph had to take over for the AI meeting, which, thank you, Shirley, you did a great job in welcoming everybody. It was very interesting. AI is crazy, and we do use it, and some of us don't even realize that we're using it. So our kids know a whole lot more than we do, but that was, they did a great job. The food was excellent, and I enjoyed that. The next thing I believe, yeah, we went to the Disneyland Hotel for Anderson to receive their Distinguished School Awards, which I'd never been to one, so it was very interesting. It was nice. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Thank you, Dr. Pamelia, for driving and getting us there safe and sound. But it was a nice day, even though there was a big gap in between when we had to check in and when we took pictures, and then from pictures to dinner was a lot of time, a lot of downtime. But it gave us a lot of time to just sit and visit, and we had a good time. It was very hot. It was very hot. But that was really nice, and I enjoyed that because like I said, I'd never been to one before. So I was very proud of Anderson, and so glad that they get a Distinguished School Award. The next thing was the Afternoon of Excellence, and I do want to commend the HR department. That was absolutely gorgeous, the way that you guys set it up in the, because many years ago, when we weren't worried about money and stuff, we used to have it over at a hotel and have a big dinner and pictures and all that. And this was very similar in the setting, as far as like the tables and the decorations, and even though it was little it was perfect. It was short and sweet. It was to the point, and the decorations were great. All the tables, we had a lot of people attend, which I thought was great, because sometimes it's been, well, I remember the COVID year when we had to do it virtually, but I did enjoy that. Thank you very much for that. That was very nice. And so yes, thank you to Rogers for hosting that. I loved the fact that we were able to put tables up and actually sit down and chit chat with everybody, get to see a lot of, like Shirley said, a lot of the great people that have been in our school district for so long, which has made Lawndale very, very good. And to speak on Dr. Pamelia's thing, I loved the school spotlights this year. Those to me were better than hearing the schools. I read the school site plans, and we've had them before, but it gets very, over and over and over again. And repetitive, yes. And what I enjoy the most is when the kids come in and talk to us. That means more to me, and I get a real sense of pride from them. And I think that's more important, that we know that our kiddos are loving their schools and they're proud to be there. So I like that idea and I want you to keep doing that one. That one was a great idea, which I said even back when they were coming. So that's pretty much all for me. I do appreciate everybody. Hope you guys all have something good planned for this summer, even though I know we have another board meeting coming, but that's it.
Right, thank you. Trustee Phillips.
Thank you. I'll try to be succinct as possible because I did a lot. Right after the last board meeting, I attended the delegate assembly up at Sacramento. We had a discussion, actually at our luncheon, about declining enrollment and how it impacts school districts. And as Dr. Ho shared with us, 2.3% COLA for this year. But when you have a 3% reduction in attendance, you have a declining enrollment, you don't have a 2.3 anymore. You're in a negative of 0.7% on funding. And I think people need to be aware of that even though we get some money from the state, we're losing a whole lot of money at the same time. We always break into groups. And, me, I signed up for finances. Our goal this time was to discuss among the 45 people what the impact would be on us if the Department of Education is closed. I would tell you Head Start for a lot of elementary schools. Federally funded preschools would be impacted. For high schools, it would be the loans for college students, FAFSA, would be impacted immediately. There were a couple more, but the one that went through and got 45 votes out of 45 was SPED. Districts know that sometimes we might get 10% recoup on the money that we spend on our special children. But to even lose that much is really detrimental to all of us. And the cost of educating the children is going up. And so that was one of the big things they took to Washington, D.C. as well as coast to coast. And they marched into those offices and said, you're taking away the money for our SPED children. That was a big focus point this year. I attended on the 19th, I attended the joint dinner with Centinela, Hawthorne, Lennox, and the AI study was really great. I get caught up on that because somebody on the national level called it A1 instead of AI, so I always have to stop and make sure I'm correct on that. I think the most important thing was that AI has been here for years. If you play games on your phone, guess what? There's AI on it. Then the kids all know about ChatGPT, whatever that is. And I heard another school district now has Go Guardian, so that catches, especially high school districts, it catches if the kids use ChatGPT or any AI when they're taking tests. It'll come back and say, or they write an essay, it'll come back and say, 80% of this was probably AI generated. And so we just need to make sure we control it and it does not control us. But it was a good topic for the conversation for everyone. And then the 21st, I attended the Safety Summit at Centinela. Dr. Ho was there as well. I can't remember her official title, but I know her last name's Tardy because I kept thinking, oh, good, she's not going to be late ever. But she discussed the safety implements at our high schools, especially that's going on in middle school and high school. And she really gave the commendations to our own Officer Troy Hilliard, that how many years he's been serving us, and he is really respected in the field for what he does. Between our two schools in Lawndale, he's always here for our kids. And sometimes, in fact, he wasn't there because he was called out to a site to take care of an issue right away. So it was nice to hear that Officer Hilliard was being respected and honored a little bit. As Dr. Ho mentioned, we had the LCFA meeting. It went by a little too fast. He wasn't listening for comments from us at all this time, and I had to say, hey, don't forget to give a comment. And I was really proud to give our presentation to them about how much money, the 1.2 million or whatever, that we spent this last year. And then I, broke it down with the presentation as to what we're spending the money on. So yeah, none of our superintendents or anyone's going to Hawaii with that money because they can't. So don't even think about it there, doctor. Be any of you. And the board member next to me says, show off. No, I just, because, Dr. Hope brought the presentation for me at the last minute and we were prepared to say, this is what we're spending it on. And it was nice to hear from the other districts how they're spending the money as well. It is about safety. It is about technology and it's about the things needed for the students. Memorial Day at Lawndale was really nice, very small attendance. It seems to get smaller every year. But our Congresswoman Maxine Waters was there as well. She has come every year since she's been elected. And Laura Richardson, our state senator, was there to, give her viewpoints of Memorial Day and stuff. The gentleman is from the Air Force. He's in charge of the Space Force now at El Segundo. Really helped me. I went and looked up Flanders Fields when I got home because Flanders Fields is where a lot of our servicemen are buried who helped to save Belgium. I think it's 368 or so are buried there, but it's a huge cemetery for those who died on the soil but aren't in that area. The children in that, or the language there is Flemish, which I didn't know that even existed. But during this time of Memorial Day, the kindergartners go to the cemetery and they sing our national anthem as a way of thanking us for saving Belgium. And I was really touched by that, so I wanted to do a little bit more research, So many of our kids don't even stand up for it anymore. Sorry. But that's what they do for us. I did not attend the Afternoon of Excellence. I'm so sorry. I planned to, but I had a family emergency and there was no way I could get out of it. I also did not attend the Distinguished School, and it wasn't to snub the event or anything. But while I was at Delegate Assembly in our little caucus, we always get to go around the room and say something, what's going on in our district. So I bragged about Anderson School. Here's the opportunity. I'm going to walk right through it. And it brought up the conversation by another board member that he found out the cost of the tickets and the price to go there. And I didn't realize it was that steep. And with everything else going on with finances, because, I wanted to go to coast, and we had to look at the finances of that. I really thought long and hard about it because I really wanted the school to know that I honored what they've done. That's a big, huge accomplishment. And then Superintendent Castro sent me a text and I thought about it for about half an hour and I finally said, I'm going to give that ticket up to someone who actually did the work. So it wasn't to be rude or anything like that, but I really think that the people who did the work at the school deserve to go. And I think at a future time, not tonight, we might want to look at it that maybe we have the president and the clerk go because it really cost the district a lot for all 5 of us to go. So I don't know who the ticket was given to, but I think I made the right decision on that one. Not to say anything, but that was my gut feeling.
She was very grateful.
Was she? Oh, who went?
Chick, Miss Chick.
Really? Oh, I love her. She's an
She was
excellent
so
teacher.
excited.
Oh, she's an excellent teacher. I've seen her in the classroom and stuff. Oh, now I've got the chills. Okay. I feel I made the right decision now. And with that, I had a granddaughter you don't have to put this in there. Granddaughter graduate yesterday from high school. And then some birthdays coming up, but they aren't important. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Morales?
Thank you very much. I attended a lot of the events too, and I think they were very welcoming, very interesting. I learned a lot from them. I want to thank again all the Anderson staff for that honor to receive that distinguished award. I know that every single staff worked hard to get and receive that award. So again, thanks to all of them. I also want to again
thank the South Bay Mission Church, for all their donations over the years. They have brought a lot of smiles and happy faces to our children and our community. And they say that the job is not done yet. So, so we really appreciate that. I know that next week is our last week, June 10th.
Tuesday.
So I just wish all the students and families had a great summer and a safe summer, and also the staff of the Lawndale School District. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Okay, very quickly, I also went to the Take Part festival. The artwork was beautiful that once I got into the cafeteria and to look at it. Afternoon Excellence was fantastic. It really was. Your staff, your team worked really, really hard to make it very memorable. I hope everyone who was honored enjoyed it. And I am proud to wear my California Distinguished School pin, and I have a lanyard. You and Shirley can argue over it if you like. And I also have a program. And it was great to see State Superintendent Tony Thurman there. There were some things I would change about it. The lag time and perhaps the cost, but as someone explained to me there what we were paying for, so it's worthy of a conversation, as I always say. I don't have anything at this time. Who is going to promotions at Rogers at 10 o'clock on Monday? Tuesday. Okay, reverse. Okay, Adams is at 5 o'clock. Who's attending that?
Monday, correct?
Right.
Monday at 5, yeah.
Ms. Howdy, are you seeing that? Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot go to that.
myself, okay,
Mine's possibly also.
okay. And who is committing to go to Rogers at 10 o'clock on Tuesday?
I'm hoping.
Okay, all right. Okay, you have that, Ms. Harugi?
I'm hoping to go to Rogers because of the procedure I'm having on Monday, which is,
Okay,
Up in the
you're
air.
hoping to go.
yes.
Okay. Is there any further business to come before the board at this time?
I just had one thing I wanted to add. I wanted to thank Sylvia for all her hard work and tell her that you will be missed by all of us. Everybody in the room is gonna miss you for meetings. She even on May 19th took care of us just the way she does here. So thank you very much for your dedication.
Ditto,
Absolutely.
and the Diet Pepsi. Okay, anything else to come before the board?
No, ma'am.
Reminder that we do have a board meeting, special board meeting on June 12th. Okay, anything else? All right, with that, I move that we adjourn the meeting of June 5th, 2025 at 6:53.